Well, good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our 20th annual Stars and Stripes. And it's my privilege to introduce to you Farmington Hills Mayor Massey.
Thank you very much, Marcia. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. There we go. I would like to welcome you to our 20th annual Stars and Stripes Forever celebration. And as we start out, there are a few folks around here from your city council that I would like to introduce to you. Mr. Richard Lerner is in the back of the room back there. Our Mayor Pro Tem, Valerie Knoll, is in the back of the room. We've got folks from the city, the Director of Special Services, Ellen Schnackles, in the back of the room, along with Assistant Chief Matt Kane from our police department. And we're all out here because this is a great celebration. This is a very special event that allows us as a city to say thank you for your service to our country. We are proud of the fact that we have been honoring our veterans through the Stars and Stripes Forever for the last 20 years. And all of you need to be proud of the part that you have played in sustaining our nation's freedom. Throughout American history, courageous men and women have answered the call and taken up arms to defend our core principles that make our country the land of the free. And it remains that, the land of the free, as long as we are also the home of the brave. That spirit of freedom that you embodied is thankfully still alive, as evidenced by the men and women who are now fighting around the world the global war on terrorism. And since our country's been founded, more than 48 million men and women have served this country in our military branches. They've stepped up and they've defended our freedoms. Today, there are over 25 million living veterans who served our nation proudly both in times of peace and in times of war. And our veterans represent different ethnicities, religious beliefs. They come from various backgrounds and symbolize the rich heritage that has made our country what it is today. I'm proud to say I'm a member of the Sons of the American Legion, because I'm the son of a U.S. Army veteran and the nephew of a U.S. Marine veteran, both who served proudly during World War II. And for those of you, how many of you served in the Marines? We have a few. Well, yesterday was the 241st birthday of the United States Marine Corps, so something else to celebrate today. So as we honor our veterans, we must never forget that freedom is not free. We enjoy freedoms because of the soldiers who were determined, courageous, and sometimes paid the ultimate sacrifice to protect those freedoms. Today, we offer gratitude and respect to you all. You inspire us with steadfast dedication to our country, and we say, on behalf of the citizens of Farmington Hills, thank you. Thank you for your service.
And it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you Farmington Mayor Galvin.
Thank you, Marcia. Thanks for having us here this morning at this wonderful event. I'd like to take a minute and introduce a few additional colleagues that are here with me. From the city of Farmington, our city manager, Mr. David Murphy. My colleague on city council, Councilwoman Sarah Bowman. And our state representative, Ms. Christine Gregg. I know there's some hot food back there, so I'm not going to take a lot of time. This past week, we all had the right and the ability and the privilege to exercise our votes for the freedom that you've given us over the last century or even more, all the veterans who have served. And we all showed up on Tuesday. We exercised that right. Some people in the rest of the world don't understand how we can agree and disagree and then get together and break bread together. But that's the American way. That's what we're doing today. And I thank you for your service.
So it is my distinct pleasure also again to introduce to you Harry Dotson. He is the Chief Master Sergeant, retired from the Air Force in 2006 after 30 years of service. Most of his time was spent at Suffrage Air National Guard Base in Mount Clemens. Prior to his service in the Air Force, he served in the U.S. Navy. He is Master of Civil Air Patrol and currently serves as the Great Lakes Regional Chief Master Sergeant, covering 6 states. His immediate past District Governor of Rotary District, 6380. Of course, the Rotary motto of service above self also fits the military so well. He is an active member of the American Legion Post 143 in Auburn Hills, and an active member at the Masana Temple Shrines. So thank you so much. I'd like you to give a warm welcome to Henry Dotson.
Thank you, Marcia. Thank you and good morning. I feel honored and humbled that one of you should be up here speaking instead of me. But it is an honor to be here today to give you the keynote address. Talk about Veterans Day, just a little bit of background on, probably some of you already know all this, but it was formerly known as Armistice Day, which was honor our military veterans with Armistice Day and Remembrance Day. Our neighbors in Canada, they still call it Armistice Day, but it actually marked the end of World War I, formally ending at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918. So when the armistice with Germany went into effect, they observed it Armistice Day until 1954 under President Eisenhower, when they changed it to become Veterans Day. Just a little bit of history of how we become to be veterans. Wednesday night we were at a function in Ann Arbor. It was a salute to the veterans. Their purpose there was to raise money, and it's a still an ongoing project. I'm not here to advocate any money or anything, but the money raised is to build a Fisher House. If you're not familiar with the Fisher House is kind of like the Ronald McDonald House. The Fisher House provides free housing for veterans who are being treated by the VA while they're undergoing treatment. They get free housing, so they're there close to their vet instead of having to stay in a hotel. And they made the announcement Wednesday that the ground will be broken for a Fisher House at the VA, near the VA hospital there in Ann Arbor. But what was intriguing, and so was there's 6 veterans that spoke about their experiences from the Iraq War to the Vietnam War. Captain Charles Plum was an F-104 fighter pilot who was shot down and spent 6 years as a prisoner of war, along with Senator John McClain, who was actually his flight commander. So, and Matt Drake was a young man in the U.S. Army in Iraq when an IED exploded, and the man has made tremendous recovery from his injuries. He had a major brain injury, and today he is still has some problems, but he's recovering very well. And it's been 12 years since this young man went through his ordeal. So the Fisher House is just it will be built at the VA, as I said, the VA hospital in Ann Arbor. Michigan does not have one. It'll be the first one, and we're proud to serve the veterans here in Michigan. The proud veterans that you are and that have served our country, fought for America's freedom. Some of you were on foreign soil, some on American soil, still battling for the democracy and fighting for the future of the right to remain free. Some made that ultimate sacrifice with their life so that we as a country can still remain free. Thank you, veterans, for your service, what you gave for our freedom that we experience today. God bless you, and God bless the USA. Thank you so much.
So it's my privilege to begin the honor roll. Susan will come on up and read the names. I will ask each of you to come on down when your name is called, and Susan will explain the process. But thank you to our keynote speaker once again.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here. Again, it is my pleasure to read off your names. As I said before, as I said the last couple of years, I'm sorry if I mispronounce anyone's name. Not intentional. So we shall begin now. John Semyon, Carl Lindbauer, Richard Zanetti, Harry Smith, Bill Holcomb, Ed Hirsch, Andy
John Simeon, United States Navy.
Carl Lindbauer, U.S. Army.
Harry Smith, U.S. Army.
Richard Zanetti, United States Naval Air.
Bill Holcomb, Army.
Ed Hirsch, Army Special Forces.
Andrew Brown, Special Forces, Special Operations.
David Kelly, Cipriano Camacho, James Jackson, Al Ray, and please step up to the microphone.
James Jackson, United States Army Special Forces.
David Kelly, United States Army.
El Rey, Infantry.
Any other of Andy's squadron that I haven't called up here? Please come up. Michael Canty, Al Resnick, Frank Burns, Herman Kazov,
Joseph Clyburn, U.S. Army.
Herman Kassoff, 1st Special Service Force, World War II.
Cardell Palmer,
Al Wesley, Vietnam. Oh, Army. Thank you.
Michael Canty, United States Air Force. As you read this program today, if you're reading it, thank a teacher. But if you're reading it in English, thank a veteran.
Cardell Palmer, Joe Clyburn, Jerome Williams, Lee Shaman.
Lee Shaman, U.S. Army.
Williams, United States Army.
Tom Neal, Dave Emery, Bob Gleason, Richard Beal.
Bob Gleason, United States Army. Richard Beal, U.S. Army, Airborne.
Anton Milekovich, Thomas Beauchamp, William Zawacki, Charlie Moody.
Anton Milankovich, U.S. Navy.
Thomas Beauchamp, U.S. Air Force.
Bill Zawacki, U.S. Army Intelligence.
Charles Moody, Air Force Intelligence.
Mel Knopf, Gerald McMaster, Jerry Hayden, Dwayne Shuffler.
Mel Knopf, U.S. Army.
Dwayne Shuffler, U.S. Marine Corps.
Gerard McMaster, U.S. Army.
Haig Arabian, Bob Harada, Herbert Shaw, and David Cam.
Haig Arabian, U.S. Army, Korea.
Parada, Korea, United States Army.
George David, Saul Arsht, Skip Williams, Gene Richmond.
Corporal George David. I served 2 years during the Korean War in the United States Army. Gene Richmond, U.S. Army.
Saul Arsht, 1st Marine Aircraft Wing, Korea.
Skip Williams, Navy Air.
Joel Kramer, Jerry Coling, Bob Rich, Ron Plar.
Navy. Rich, U.S. Army.
Jerome Shakta, Andrew Lingner, James Forbes, and Virgil Thill.
Virgil Till, U.S. Navy, Pacific, Iwo Jima, Okinawa.
Jerome Shakta, U.S. Army.
My name is Andrew Lingman, and I served in the Army, 123rd General Hospital, Hertford, England, for over a year.
Eldon Funk, Herb Holcomb,
Jim Forbes, United States Army. I salute all of them. Thank you.
I'm sorry about that. I thought he was with that other gentleman. Herb Holcomb, Martin Eggert, Mark Heckler.
Eldon Funk, United States Navy, anti-submarine warfare, a little over 2 years in the South Pacific during World War II. Thank you.
Mark Heckler, World War II Army.
Martin Eggert, World War II Army, First Army in Europe. Thank you.
Stan Wilkin, okay.
My name is Chester Edward Sanders. What? Oh, I'm Navy Seabees. And Navy Seabees. And I served from, 43 for 3 years. And I'm here. A week from today, I will be 94. Okay.
Stanley Wilkins, U.S. Navy, World War II.
John Kamstra, John Anhut, Ray Okonski, Albert Rowe.
John Anhut, U.S. Navy, 1943 to 46, Assault Beachmasters, South Pacific 8 operations.
Oh, my goodness.
Albert Rowe, World War II, airborne. Ray Okonski, United States Army, World War II. Last battle was the Ludendorff Bridge at Remagen. They made a movie of it, but they didn't ask me to play in it. Important, the war ended 6 weeks later. It was one of the last major conflicts. We crossed the Rhine River, etc. I was happy to be there. I'm happier to be here.
Bill Jacks, Lerman Young, Chuck Nolan, and Harry Levy.
Staff Sergeant Harry Levy, 10th 3rd Army, and World War II. That's about all I gotta say. I'm lucky, like most of the people, to be around. I'm 94 years old.
Lerman Young, United States Air Force.
Bill Jakes, Army.
Charles Nolan, Navy, aboard the USS Lexington.
Ed Good, Albert Gamp, Ornell Norrie, and George Arakalian.
Albert Gamps, U.S. Coast Guard. Many are called, but few are chosen. Amen.
George Arkelian, U.S. Army, Europe, World War II.
Army, Pacific, and Europe, World War II, and Korea.
O.J. Norrie, World War II, Army Headquarters.
Is there anybody else that is not on that list who would like to come up and be recognized? There's a gentleman back there. Please come up.
Jim Carter, U.S. Navy.
Michigan Air Guard, Civil Air Patrol, and now Yankee Air Force, and also Air Force Reserves. Thank you.
John Reynolds, U.S. Army, retired.
I'd now like to bring up our color guard, Clint Childers, Mike Peters, Richard Reigert, Mike Mitchell, Bill Lapham, Dave Mahalik, Howard Lynn, John Grossman, Al Wilkinson, Joe Wagle.
Clint Childers, U.S. Navy.
Mike Peters, SAL.
Richard Rieger, Navy, Vietnam.
Mike Mitchell, SAL, for my father, Army Air Corps, 43 to 45.
Bill Lapham, U.S. Army, Vietnam, and I would like to say thank you for having this because I just met this fellow right here. We were in basic training 49 years ago.
Dave Mahalik, U.S. Army, Vietnam.
John Grossman, U.S. Navy, Vietnam.
Al Wilkinson, U.S. Army, World War II, Weather Service.
Howard Lynn, U.S. Navy, Korea.
Joe Wagle, U.S. Army, Vietnam.
Marjorie Jevitt, U.S. Army, Germany.
I have a few other names to add to this list. First of all, one of our volunteers who put this together and helped put this room together this morning was in the Army for 20 years. She had to leave. Her name is Sandy Brazovich. And I also have some posthumous names to read off. First of all, I'd like to read off Redmond Rock. Richard Caverly, Herbert Bleichfeld, Louis Entis, and my aunt who passed away, she would have been 100. She was a nurse in World War II, Louise. Thank you very much, and I want to thank everybody for keeping us safe, for keeping the world safe. And thank you for your service, as I'm sure you've heard a lot today. Thank you.
Gentlemen, ladies, on behalf of the City of Farmington Hills Special Services, we really are delighted to have all you come out, enjoy this lovely lunch and time together, but most of all, we really do respect and appreciate the service that you've done to make our community a great place, our country a great place. Our families enjoy so much freedom and so many wonderful things because of the service you provided for all of us. So on behalf of everyone, I think we should give them a standing ovation.